This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero, because World War III is a really bad idea. Here is your host, Michael Rivero.
And aloha, America. Welcome to our show today. It is Monday, April 13th, 2020, the day after Easter. And we have got a lot to talk about. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443, 800-313-9443. Mike is in our control room, twiddling the dials, keeping us out of trouble, ready to answer the phone when you call on in, put you on the air with your comments, questions, opinions, and observations here. It's been kind of a rough weekend, obviously, as I mentioned before. Easter was yesterday, and our local church had a drive-in service, and they set up this little FM transmitter so people could listen to the service on their car radio. And the lovely lady Claire played the music for the service, and she was very well received, so she's feeling very good about that. And but we had, rain and storm and the rest of it going on, which for an outdoor service is kind of a bit of a drag there. But the storms are really bad further south and further east of us. Apparently 22 people have been killed, at least 22. There may be more. They're still looking. And they had tornadoes all across the south. They're reporting wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour in New York City, which is causing all kinds of damage. Right now, there's about 1.3 million people without electricity. Okay. Bernie Sanders has now officially endorsed Joe Biden for president, which was kind of a study in foregone conclusions here. Interestingly enough, the Democratic Socialists of America announced they're not endorsing Joe Biden. So apparently there is still a lot of concern about whether or not he should be the Democratic nominee. And apparently Dick Morris, who's a former advisor to Clinton, said that New York Governor Andrew Cuomo should not be written off as a possible Democratic presidential candidate. Apparently Cuomo is rethinking his position on that, or maybe he was just fibbing all along when he said he wasn't interested in the job. But Amy Klobuchar has the best odds of being named Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. But apparently there's a movement inside the Democratic leadership to have Michelle Obama be the vice president. Now, I am sorry. I mean, Michelle's a nice lady and everything, but she's not qualified to be the vice president, let alone push comes to shove the president. So I don't know what the Democrats are thinking, because they're going to get the female vote with any female vice presidential candidate. The only thing having Michelle there does is it brings Barack Obama's political machine in line with Joe Biden. And interestingly enough, Obama still has not endorsed Joe Biden. So maybe that's what he's holding out for. Figures if Hillary can follow Bill, which she hasn't quite succeeded in doing, that maybe Michelle could follow Barry, which is kind of a dumb way to run a country, if you ask me. Anyway, people are still talking about the Wisconsin election, which was on again, off again because of coronavirus. And apparently they had missing ballots, lines, and they're saying that it was voter suppression and just all kinds of problems. A lot of people didn't get to cast their votes here. Apparently the FBI has come on out with some newly declassified footnotes in Michael Horowitz's Watchdog report. Apparently, the FBI knew that the Christopher Steele dossier against Donald Trump was disinformation. They knew it right from the start, and yet they went ahead with it and launched that whole Russiagate dossier nonsense that we had to live with all that time. Amazing. Okay, down in Israel, settler attacks have risen by 78% amid the coronavirus pandemic. The Palestinians are dealing with coronavirus. Israel has literally been stealing medical supplies from Palestine. And to top it all off, the settlers are just acting up. There's been a sharp uptick in settler violence against the Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Even after the UN called for a global ceasefire to obstruct the spread of the pandemic, Israel killed 2 Palestinians, including a child, and increased their attacks. Apparently, there's been another incident where Israeli troops opened fire on Palestinian farmers in southern Gaza. And apparently the farmers weren't doing anything other than farming. but apparently the fire was enough to cause the farmers to leave their farmlands immediately. A terrible thing to have to go through here. All right, let's talk a little bit about the economic news. As GFC2 gathers force, prepare for a massive wave of default and bankruptcy. And there was an interesting little comment in this article from Investment Watch blog. This is the first time in world history that jobless people wait in line for free food packages in shiny new cars, which tells you just how fast it's all fallen apart here. Now, there's an argument going on right now between the governors of the states and Donald Trump. Donald Trump declares he alone has the authority to reopen the state economies. The governors are saying, no, it should be up to us. The corporate media is on the side of the state governors. And even, I mean, the state governors have issued the stay-at-home orders, and they have specific powers to do so under the 10th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Trump is saying, no, it's going to be up to him and the federal government when things get back together. Now, one of the things they did in the hospitals with the coronavirus is they ended all elective medical procedures. You know, these are non-critical, non-emergency medical procedures. And the result has been a decline in business. Everything that comes into the hospitals now is coronavirus, but all the other stuff has stopped. And as a result, the revenues are falling, and small hospitals are having to lay off or furlough their staff. Wasn't quite the panic everybody thought it was going to be here. All right, getting into the world of computers now. Apparently, researchers have found 2 new bugs in Zoom that let hackers take over a computer's webcam and microphone. Apparently, the video conferencing service is hit with a string of security compromises. And the flaws were disclosed this week in a report from Patrick Wardle, a former NSA hacker and current principal security researcher at Jamf. And these are the latest in a series of security compromises highlighted in recent months. There are now companies and government offices that are forbidding the use of Zoom. Now, the Russian space agency Roscosmos has slammed President Trump and accused him of attempting to take over other planets after the president signed an executive order establishing a U.S. policy in support of commercial mining in space. He signed this executive order basically saying that the U.S. government is supportive of efforts to mine the moon and asteroids for rare elements. And if they could make it pay off, that will revolutionize space travel, because there'll be a big push to get into space to make it less expensive. So anyway, the Russians are very upset about that right now. Apparently, there has been a development over at Apple where Apple might fix your broken iPhone, Mac, or other device for free, even if it's out of warranty. The iPad Air 3rd generation service program for blank screen issue. If the screen on your iPad Air 3rd generation has gone blank, with perhaps a brief flicker or flash may appear before the screen goes blank, and was manufactured between March 2019 and October 2019, they are eligible for a free of charge fix. So if you have one of those and it's acting up, get in touch with Apple here. Now, this is kind of cool, okay? If you have an old laptop that is not being used for anything, there's apparently a way to turn it into a Chromebook, or to put the Chromebook open source operating system on it. And all it takes is a USB stick and a little bit of technical know-how, and it takes about an hour to do, and you will have a Chromebook to play with. You won't have the, you know, the battery life and the other features of the physical hardware, but if you wanted to learn what Chromebook was all like, this is definitely a way to go. Okay, now back on the 25th of March, the University of Alaska at Fairbanks, Rented Lips, published the conclusion of a 4-year investigation into 9/11 and the collapse of building number 7. And the inquiry was funded by Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, which is a nonprofit organization. And they're calling for a new investigation into the 3 buildings that were destroyed on 9/11. The researchers from the University of Alaska Fairbanks infer the collapse of Building 7 was the result of a controlled demolition, saying it would have been completely impossible for the building to collapse the way that it did without the near simultaneous failure of every single column in the building, which is, of course, is what we've been saying all along. It had to be a controlled demolition. Buildings that collapse for engineering reasons, they tip over because they fail at one point. Everyone's still talking about the fourth stimulus package, and apparently Nancy Pelosi is trying to sneak in House Resolution 5717. This is the most aggressive gun control bill of all time. It includes a 30% tax, federal licensure, aggressive ban on many firearms, and more. All right, we're going to take a phone call now from Johnny in Vancouver Island. Aloha, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good day, sir. How are you?
Good day to you too.
I just wanted to give you an update what's happening here on the island. We have 0 people in the hospital.
Good.
We have, like, I live in Comox Valley, which is right in the middle of the island, and we have an international airport and a military base sitting right beside it. We have and a supporting community of about 65,000 people. There is absolutely nobody with COVID virus in this valley and our surrounding communities. I don't see a pandemic here.
Well, you're very fortunate to be living in a place like that. I mean, heck, I may move in with you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, they did cut off our ferry service, so if you're not a truck driver or a pilot, you're not getting on or off this island.
Oh, okay.
So we're pretty shut down, but like everybody, like we can go to the stores, we can do whatever we want, but just us being Canadians, we do practice our social conditioning. So, or social distancing, I should say.
Yes.
And, but otherwise, right now, we cannot see a pandemic. It's like me and my wife did the math last Thursday, and there was like 11,000 cases. And that was since January 15th. And that worked out to 0.0003% of our population. And since January 15th, that would be a 0.05% growth rate. We've had more flu, like seasonal flu, is tripled that. Like, I don't know what. I think they found a really good way to scare us into submission.
Well, I think what happened is everybody just, they went with that initial assessment that this was going to be a really horrible problem, and it's turned out not to be. And now you've got some of the people are out there trying to inflate the figures to say, see, we were right all the time. And then you have the other ones who are saying, see, it was a hoax all the time, and we tried to tell you that. And everybody's pounding on this thing for political advantage. And from where I'm sitting, this looks like a repeat of 2009 and the When Pigs Fly flu, where they did exactly the same thing. Oh, this is going to wipe out a huge part of the human race. It's a terrible thing. Buy Tamiflu, buy Tamiflu. And, it turned out to be less severe than the regular seasonal flu. And it looks like this is a repeat of the same thing all over again.
Yeah. It does seem like that, doesn't it?
It does.
So,
and I gotta tell you,
that was my rant for the day, and I just thought I'd get it off my chest. And you have a great one, buddy.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm going to rant a little bit here. I'm really kind of sick and tired of the COVID-19. I'm tired of the hysteria. I'm tired of the social distancing. I'm tired of, the total focus by the corporate media on this to the exclusion of everything else, which is why I'm trying to find news that's not COVID-19 related here. We're going to go back to the phones to Brian in Pennsylvania. Aloha, Brian. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine. You're on the air.
Hey, I got 2 things I want to talk about, and I'll try to be as quick as possible. Have you seen, basically, I think over the weekend, all of the videos and pictures coming out from like there was a picture from, I believe it was Tasmania, where a camper was like in the middle of the mountains and they flew a helicopter in to give the guy a fine for like not being at home. Did you see that?
No, I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and then there's like all kind of pictures from the UK where people are like picnicking like in with nobody around, and then all of a sudden police are there harassing people. And then there was a video from Philadelphia where they were like yanking a guy off of a bus. The police were yanking the dude off the bus because he wasn't wearing a mask. And there was like 8 cops just like yanking this dude off. And then there was another video of the UK where they just busted the guy's door in because he wouldn't answer the cops. And they just wanted to make sure that there was no social gathering when the dude was home alone.
All these these minor police officials are getting drunk on their own power and authority. You know, when you get into something like this, like the pandemic or some kind of a crisis situation, it brings out the best and the worst in people. I mean, we're hearing stories of tremendous sacrifice and caring and concern and community on one hand, and then on the other hand, we have these other stories where people are just out there saying, "Well, I'm out here writing notes on people's cars because they shouldn't be here." Well, you shouldn't be there out there to write the notes on the car either. So, you know, where are we going to go from this?
The other story was down in Kentucky. The police were writing down all the license plates of all the people that were at the church service for Easter. That was the other story I forgot.
Is that the one where they put the nails in the parking lot?
Yeah, you saw that one. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, isn't that bonkers? Like people are that like paranoid that they're throwing nails down. The police are writing down people's license plate. Whatever happened to the abortion thing where it's like my body, my choice? Why can't we exercise the same thing? Like I want to be around people, so if I get sick, it's my body, it's my choice. Like what happened to that scenario? We just kind of threw that out the window where it's like a little bit of hysteria and everybody just loses their mind.
They really do. Down in Mississippi, they had another drive-in Easter service. Apparently, drive-in services were very popular yesterday, but they had one down in Mississippi. The cops showed up and busted that one. And they had one empty parking space between each car. So, I mean, they were separated and everything. Apparently, there was another story where there were 16 people in a church that normally seats 239, and they went and arrested the pastor.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the second topic that I had was when the Constitution was being written, the founding fathers knew what disease was. Like they had smallpox and influenza like crazy, and people were dying. And yet there's nothing in the Constitution that says, okay, we throw our entire Constitution away if somebody gets sick.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the founding fathers knew what disease was, and yet they didn't panic and freak out and say, we got to lock down the whole planet. It's like everybody has what was it? There was I think it was during the Spanish flu. The one guy I was listening to, Robert Barnes, he was saying during them, they sheltered like the people that were more susceptible to the disease and just let everybody else kind of continue on with their life. And it's like, to me, that's more logical. Like, okay,
yes.
The people that have morbidities and everything, okay, let's keep them aside. We'll lock down the nursing homes and everything, and then just let everybody kind of go about their life. We get people sick, okay, then they kind of shelter away from people too. It's like, I don't know. It's like how many people already had COVID-19 and didn't even know about it? That's what I kind of want to know that.
You're absolutely right. I mean, obviously, people who are infectious need to be sequestered. People who might be susceptible. But you're right. During the Spanish influenza, which had nothing to do with Spain, I might add, life went on. And, a lot of people did die, but they didn't shut the whole country down in the process.
Yeah, and that's to me, it's like a safer approach. We just kind of like distance the people that are like that are actually could get sick or die from it. And then, there's a commercial. Thanks for taking me on the show, Mike. All right, bye.
All right, thanks an awful lot. We're going to take a break for commercials. We've got more callers waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
Republic Broadcasting Network, we have been building our online store. Well, we have been focusing on bringing you the best talk show host in the country. Here at Republic Broadcasting Network, we also want our listeners to have products they can use every day and in times of emergency. We have added new products each week to our store. Your support of this network, plus products at the best prices, is a win-win situation. Check out our new store. Go to our website, republicbroadcasting.org, and click on the online store located at the top of our website. Together, we can continue to grow RBN and help our listeners prepare for the future. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and click on our online store or call us.
800-724-2719, extension 3. 800-724-2719, extension 3.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. Join Mike on the air. Call toll-free 800-313-9443. 800-313-9443.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. And a reminder that Republic Broadcasting is in the middle of a fundraiser. And we really do need your help to stay on the air, to keep speaking truth to power, to try and throw some cold water on a lot of darned foolishness that's going on in our nation today. So the postal address where you can send a check, money order, or if you prefer anonymity cash is Republic Broadcasting Network, 2251 Double Creek Drive, number 302, Round Rock, Texas, 78664. The phone number where you can make a credit or debit card donation is 800-724-2719, extension 3. The network thanks you. We're going to go back to the phones here to Steve Elkins. Steve, welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Steve Elkins, are you there?
Yeah, am I on?
You're on the air.
Okay. Yeah, like you, I'm rather tired of talking about coronavirus, and I'm tired of seeing the coronavirus psychosis every day is an interesting day. New stuff that just came out today. I thought I'd throw it your way here. It's some interesting stuff. Osceola County down here in Florida has issued an executive order starting at midnight tonight that anyone going outside in public must wear a mask. And if you do not abide by that new executive order, a $500 fine or 60 days in jail. An ER doctor had her 4-year-old child taken away from her, handed over to the ex-husband because she works in an ER and may be suspect or, getting near, I guess, coronavirus, but she's been tested negative. But despite that, they've taken her child away and handed over to the ex-husband. So, and you mentioned already, the person taken off the bus by force by several officers. It's getting nuts. It's getting crazy here. This is like an episode of Twilight Zone. I've never fathomed that we'd be in a situation where people are not thinking this through. And I think we've pointed out the fraud enough in the padding of the numbers. I found a video today talking about, Mike Pence was talking about, and handed the mic over to a female, somebody from the CDC, talking about in January and February how anybody dying in the month of the declared pandemic would be suspect to being positive coronavirus, the death, and they would simply heap it on the totals to bring their numbers up. Of course, with bringing the numbers up, then you get your 6 feet social distancing and everything else, the self-quarantines, and basically a soft martial law. We got to reverse this somehow, some way. I don't know how, and I've fought a lot of people on this, but I don't know, Mike, the GDP, the general dumb population, they seem to watch, even though they say that the news is fake, the mainstream media is fake news, they seem to believe it. They seem to eat this stuff up of putting the masks on. And I've always been critical of this from day one. And I had some people give me some heat saying, I kept saying it's a hoax. I didn't say it was a hoax that the virus didn't exist. I'm simply saying that it was manufactured with an objective in mind, many objectives in mind. It is real, sure, and people who have comorbidities or underlying health problems would be vulnerable to this and may kill them. So would probably the regular flu. But they're not discussing that, and they're not discussing the recoveries. They simply are fueling the fear. Over the weekend, I got another paper that said now they're trying to fuel the fire again on this pandemic, saying that Latinos are now more susceptible to getting it and blacks are more susceptible to getting it. They're just simply trying to fuel this fear again, keep it going. And I have no clue of how far they're going to drive this thing, how long they're going to take this thing out. But they are destroying this economy. And I heard Dustin a couple of days saying, I think we should go a few more months out with the quarantines. We're not going to have anything left over, Mike. If we don't end this pretty soon here, we're going to be in the rubble. We're going to be in the rubble of trying to rebuild. People are going to be out of jobs. They're not going to go back to their jobs. Closing. I don't care about the small business loans, but that's another joke. Small business loans to the guy who was on the edge anyway, to put him back more in debt. We got to end this. We got to end this somehow, some way. And I'm looking for a miracle here to the people finally saying, you know what? I figured it out. It is a scam. I'm taking the mask off. And we all unite and say, this is it. We're done. It's over. We're going back out. We're doing our work. And we begin life again and try to rebuild before it's too late.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I've kind of reached my breaking point as well. I'm tired of the hysteria. I'm tired of the media saturation. And yeah, the numbers are definitely being inflated. There's no question in my mind about that.
Let me tell you on the medical side here that right now where we are in medicine, in the hospital, because they've stopped all the elective surgeries, only emergency surgeries, which are really not too many because nobody's driving around. There's no car accidents. There's not a lot of shootings. There's not a lot of crime right now because of the self-quarantines.
Yes.
We're probably looking presently right now, until this stops, we are looking at a 3-month backup in the hospital of getting surgeries done, scheduled, and completed. And the longer this draws out, more medical stuff piles up and piles up and piles. I'm not talking about just hospitals, but dentists and other people that tend to people, caring of people. You're looking at a 6-lane highway, a traffic jam in both directions.
Okay, Steve, stay on the line. Got to put you on hold. Got to take another break for commercials. We'll come right back to you after these words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, keep it today.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what really happened?
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. We're talking with Steve Elkins, and Steve and I are commiserating on the fact that we're both kind of sick and tired of all this coronavirus stuff. The numbers were hideously inflated. There was a lot of hysteria going on here. And at bottom, what's going on here is, we rely, or we're taught to rely on the government to tell us what's really going on. And in this case, they blew it. They absolutely overstated what the impact of this was going to be. They're trying to inflate the numbers so it doesn't look that embarrassing. But they did. They were guessing, just like everybody else. They were guessing how bad it was going to be. They don't have the real numbers. They didn't have the real facts, but they didn't want to say, look, we don't know either, because after all, they're the government, and we have to live with the myth of government infallibility, like the popes. Even when they're wrong, they're right. And we can't go on like this. It is going to destroy the economy.
No, I agree. The fear factor and the speculation, always on the high side, too. You remember they started off saying that 25 million people would die from this, and it went down to 2 million, I think at 12, and then 2 million. And then I guess now it's been revised by Anthony Fauci to say 470,000 Americans, 470,000 will die from this. Alone in America, close to 60,000, or a little bit more than 60,000 will die from this. Actually, they gave an accurate number, 60,415 I don't know how they got to that number.
What came out of the
60,415 are
computer?
suspected to die. Yeah, everything is like I said, they're still trying to fuel it. I don't know how much longer they're going to ride this out, but Americans are a little slow on the uptake on this. I'm sooner or later they're going to finally say push back. And it's interesting that the last 3 weeks, the firearms and the ammunition have been bought up. I kid you not, you can't hardly find ammo. You can get some online, but something is brewing out there that people are worried enough that with this self-quarantine, this actual soft martial law lockdown, that people are buying up firearms and ammunition. And there's a new bill out there, H.R. 5717, which is targeting your Second Amendment rights. I encourage your listeners to look that up quite a bit. A lot of new stuff coming if it goes through. And I'd like to see what Donald Trump's going to do about that.
Pelosi's trying to stick that into the fourth Coronavirus Relief Act.
Right. So we'll see what Donald Trump, what kind of president is he going to be? Is he going to allow us? Is he going to allow our Second Amendment rights to be stripped from us and slowly eroded away, or is he going to stand up and stand up for the Constitution? I don't know. I've always called it fair and square. I'm not a cheerleader, and I call it out as I see it. If he does well, I'll tell him he does well. If he doesn't, I'm going to call it as I see it. And right now, I'm in the same boat as you. Very, very disappointed in this president, and I really don't want to see another 4 years. But what alternative do we have for another 4 years? Who do we have? Nobody on either side. Not a good choice.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. See you after a bit. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Mike in Kentucky. Aloha, Mike. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, the SR-71, if I could use it as a parody, Lyndon Baines Johnson released a bunch of top secret, classified stuff about the SR-71 to get reelected. You may know about that, And so I would like to hope, I like to cling to whatever positive hope we can find that we have some competence, and all of this money and research that's been spent on germ warfare since the modern era in 1943. I've got a book that I found at a sidewalk book sale 25 years ago. I didn't even realize it was quoted in Roe versus Wade, called The Biological Time Bomb. In that book, he had to revise the introduction to the book because in open academic, non-classified circles, they used enzymes to create a virus from scratch, a designer virus, in 1967. And of course, in open academic circles, published papers, 1955, they disassembled and reassembled a virus with enzymes. Now, obviously, that's very old stuff, but now we have the CRISPR technology. And I just found an article. I didn't know that they had completely mapped this thing by January the 24th, I guess, in unclassified research, CRISPR-based Inspector, spelled with an R, no E, platforms. They said they're tailor-made for outbreaks like the coronavirus. Now, the replication rate, Farsi may be a front man, and Ferguson et al. May be incompetent in jolly old England. They finally came out, and it can be used as a cover story that the virus had a much faster replication rate than originally thought, so that by doing the math, half of the population of England was already exposed before they detected their first case on January 30th. So this implies that you can incubate it for a much longer period of time without symptoms. And a lot of people that went to Easter services are being told to quarantine at home for 14 days, as opposed to what I've heard from some people sent home for 3 or 4 days, like healthcare workers and stuff. That presented with symptoms and fever at the emergency room. They're sent home for 3 or 4 days before they can come back. And maybe that's if they know the first day that they lost their taste and smell, and they get counted, from that first day. But I have to wonder, in the concept of defensive germ warfare, biowarfare, if sometime back in the first part of the year, our military chem bio people had already created a muted version of this and was setting backfires in the suspected hotspots to give herd immunity, which would be much more efficient than a vaccine anyway. I mean, they've done these types of bioweapons research in San Francisco and elsewhere. It's come out and been declassified. But, you know, Trump, if he knows this kind of stuff, I think to get reelected would be a good idea. And how would we know whether to believe him or not unless he came forward with the documents? Just like Lyndon Baines Johnson used our SR-71 to get reelected. I think Trump could do that. He could come forward and say, look, yeah, we set backfires. This is top secret stuff, but I need to come clean with the public. That would explain, I think, why there's 90 and 100-year-old people coming home with and surviving this, you know, and everywhere from Italy to Illinois. And so there's a much milder version. Now, maybe it mutated naturally, one can hope.
Yes.
But maybe it's a designer version that they set backfires with. That's all I'd like to say, is put that out there to say, you know, we have to hope that there are some competent people somewhere in the government that's playing around with this stuff. Otherwise, we're precariously looking at a Fermi filter. If you know what the Fermi filters are.
Yes.
Yeah, it could kill us all off because we're playing around with this stuff and we don't really know what we're doing. I'll let you go.
All right. Thanks an awful lot, Mike. We're going to switch over to Corey from Connecticut. Hello, Corey. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike. I've been listening for a long time. First time caller. You there?
Okay. Well, yeah, you're on the air.
I would just like to, and maybe you can join me and your entire audience. Give one big collective hug to Dustin in New Jersey.
Okay.
I think he needs it. Can I tell you a short story?
Yeah, if it's short, yes.
During my college days, I took have you ever heard of the concept of a Jesus tree?
No, I can't say that I have.
Oh. Well, it's a tree that people think has the spirit of Jesus. And I was taking my friend up to see one, and we were driving by. He started convulsing, but the funny thing is, I was lying to him. The tree had been cut down, so it was like all in his mind.
Yes,
it wasn't real. And just one last thing, for like Joe in Tennessee. You know, if he wants the captain of the ship fired, then so be it. You know, but the man who's going to replace him could be worse. So you don't want that to happen. I just want him to consider something like that. I mean, if the captain ran the ship well, then he should commandeer the ship.
Well, I'm waiting to see if that situation is going to resolve now that one of the sailors on the Roosevelt has actually died of COVID-19. I think it's becoming clear to everybody that the captain was right to sound the warning. Last number I had was something like over 550 of the sailors have now tested positive.
Wow. So, yeah. I thought if I was the captain, I would have done the same thing. So maybe I'd be fired too. Yeah. Well, anyway, Mike, have a good day.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Tom in Florida. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Good day. Aloha, Michael. Yes, I totally agree with you, Michael, and I totally agree with Steve, what you're saying. We got to open this economy. So I'm starting to really think it is a hoax, Michael, because I'll tell you what, there's so much nonsense going on here. What I saw on the paper, in South Florida papers here, Michael, most of these people are dying from this coronavirus, and Steve knows this. They're over 82 years old. A lot of these people are in nursing homes. Okay? Now, This is getting to the point that's absolutely absurd. Now, you got these people, once they hit 80 years old, of course they're going to get ill and they're going to get weak and sick. They're not talking, they never made a big pandemic about tuberculosis when it's hitting us. But, Michael, let's get to the real fact that's going on. I think, look, they tried to impeach Trump. They tried to get him for the Russian investigation, Mueller investigation of all this other Ukrainian hoax nonsense. Let's get to the real point here. I tell you what they're really trying to do is this is about immigration. How come there wasn't a pandemic when millions of illegals are pouring through our borders? How come there's not a pandemic right now in San Francisco where Pelosi don't want to put these people in gymnasiums? She says they got to stay in tents now. They don't want to put them in. They have to either go in tents or they're going to put them in hotels. What's going on with that nonsense? And Peg Pelosi, who's got multiple millions of dollars, why doesn't she build a hospital, donate millions and millions of dollars to build a hospital in San Francisco for all the homeless? But no, we got millions. Look, Michael, did you see the thing on Drudge about the gangs in L.A. alone? You see how many gang members there are in Los Angeles? There's hundreds of thousands, Michael.
Yeah.
Come on. And we talk about this. No, Trump needs to open that dang economy by May 15th at the very latest. He should open now May 1st. May 15th, if it doesn't open, I think people should just go out and revolt. Because you know what? Like you said, the economy's going to be collapsed. If we don't open this economy by May 15th, President Trump, it's going to be horrifying. Because you know what? The coronavirus, might be bad, but my goodness, we don't even know where the damn virus came from. Nobody's telling the truth where this thing came from. Was it the United States that created it? Was it China? No. Get to the fact. Where did this come from? Who's trying to put this on the world? And we're not hearing about Gates and Soros and these criminals that got billions of dollars. Why does one man need $50, $60 billion for what? And Bill Gates was so concerned about population. Why didn't he try to stop the population from flooding the United States, Mr. Gates? What do you want, 600 million in the United States? Mr. Gates? Is that what you want, 600 million in this country? No, Michael. I'm starting to agree with you, and I agree with Steve. We got to open this economy. I think it is becoming to a hoax to me. Because now I'm starting to realize, people are dying. But most of the people are dying, they're over 80 years old, for goodness sake, Michael. What do they want people to live to 120? Fine. But you know what? You got people at 82 years old, on the average, 95% of the people who died of coronavirus, COVID-19, are 82 years old. How come nobody's talking about that? Most of the people who are dying in these nursing homes are 85, 86 years old. But the average is 82 years old. They even had it here in the South Florida newspapers. And I got to tell you this, Michael, I've never seen the traffic. I never believed in my lifetime on a Monday you could go from the south part of the county to the northern part of the county in 25 minutes. That hasn't happened in 40 years because of all the people they brought into this South Florida area. You haven't seen this since like 1968, 69. We could literally go from one end of the county to the other in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So I guess it's a good thing. And you have that blabbermouth Barbara Streisand accusing Trump of all this. Who's she kidding? Who's that blabbermouth Barbara Streisand, that pig, and these AOCs and all these liberal freaks that are allowing all these illegals and every other thing? But you're always hearing about coronavirus? Give me a break. And I thought that pig Sharon Barbara Streisand, when Trump got elected, they were going to move to Canada. What happened with that? They're still in the United States.
Yes.
Now we got a virus, so they still didn't stay in the United States. They said they were going to move as soon as Trump won the election. I remember. I'll never forget that. Sharon Barbara Streisand, blabbermouth Yenta, saying, "Oh, I'm going to move to Canada if Trump gets elected." Well, you know what? He's elected, Streisand, and you're still here. Why don't you move? Take your ass to Israel and go to Canada. You know, all I hear from that blabbermouth, all these blabbermouth freaks, is a bunch of lies. Now, the coronavirus, like Steve said, there's probably people who are definitely dying from this, but they're elder and they're people who got weak immune systems that are definitely in their 80s. You maybe have a few cases of people dying, and I'm still saying that chloroquine's probably working because it's been around for 100 years. Okay, and even when I did Little House on the Prairie with Michael Landon, they had a whole 2-hour segment of the pandemic in Minnesota, and they had to use chloroquine to knock it out. I mean, come on, man. This is getting crazy here, and this economy's got to open up. But the reason these Democrats are doing Michael, and a lot of these rhinos is because of immigration. They don't want to stop the flood of illegals coming here. You had 80,000 anchor babies born in the United States last year, Michael, in 2019. You know that?
Yes.
California alone, 80,000 anchor babies from China. 80,000 Chinese babies born. And how is this happening? But you got what is it? Almost close to 190,000 homeless now in California. They're living in tents. Something's wrong here. 8 million illegals in one state. I don't get it. And you know what, Michael? They're not talking about. All this has been off the news. Look, Avenatti's out of prison now. I think Weinstein got out. They're letting all these celebrity criminals get out of prison. Okay, pretty soon they'll probably let Cosby out. Sure of that. But we don't hear nothing about Jesse Smollett. We haven't heard nothing about the Molly Tibbetts case where the illegal stabbed her 15 times. You haven't heard a word about that case. And all the other Americans that got killed, and these angel mothers and fathers don't even get to go on TV and speak for losing a loved one. And you got, 5,800 angel mothers and fathers the last year alone? And they don't get to speak their peace of mind on these major networks? That's absurd. Now, it's got to stop. And I'm telling you, Michael, by May 15th, this economy's not open up. I'll hang on if you want. May 15th, this economy ain't open up. This country's going to be in shatters. I'm telling you.
Actually, Tom, we're going to let you go because the phone lines are full and I need to clear some of these other calls. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll be right back.
Is the Second Amendment your line in the sand? Is the United States Constitution important to you? Are you worried about gun confiscation? You need to join us for free at gunconfiscation.com. At gunconfiscation.com, you will meet like-minded patriots, get the latest Second Amendment news, and find anything you need to prepare for gun confiscation. Visit gunconfiscation.com today. That's gunconfiscation.com. Which side are you on?
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right. All the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
Hey, honey, I'm home. I grabbed a newspaper on the way home. Look at all the news today.
Don't you know that all you're going to get in the newspaper is propaganda, twisted news, and false information?
Honey, this is a national newspaper. It has to be true.
Ha! For some reason, the majority of the population believe anything the mainstream media tells them. The newspaper doesn't give out the important attention of what's happening to this country and news that affects our daily lives. Say, does that newspaper mention anything about the North American Union?
No, not that I can see.
I didn't think so. You need to go to www.newswithviews.com, where truth is more important than political correctness. That's www.newswithviews.com. Hey, don't throw that away. We can use that in the birdcage.
Okay, move over. Let me start reading newswithviews.com.
The truth? Read all about it at newswithviews.com. Newswithviews.com, where reality shatters illusion.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. We're going to go back to the phones to Steve in West Virginia. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. I got two things for you, and they're based on two previous callers last week. And the first thing I want to talk about is the cappers. Now, the cappers are a scam because the cappers are based on hypothecated values of surplus municipal properties, you know, that the government isn't using, state governments, city governments, county governments. And we have a collapsing real estate market right now, Mike.
Yes.
So you couldn't even sell those properties right now. So especially the you know, anything commercial is definitely collapsing. So the cappers are BS. The other thing I wanted to talk about is you had a caller last week from Idaho talk about how he was ticketed for being out past a curfew or a quarantine or whatever, and I don't know how many your callers noticed, but Idaho has had a huge influx of Californians, people from Washington State, Seattle, and you know, like you said before, that Israel trains our police. I think that there's a lot of these places like Idaho, Boise, and stuff that bring in Californian bureaucrats to train their bureaucrats, and California bureaucrats are probably the most oppressive bureaucrats in the whole country.
Yes.
And so Idaho, if you were to take a look at, you know, where all these bureaucrats from Idaho came from, I bet you a lot of them, they're in control and are in top positions, are all from California. And that's where you know, maybe 10 years ago, if you got a speeding ticket in Idaho or Boise area, it might have been $130, $40. Now it's like California or Washington, D.C., where it's $300. And so you got a lot of Californians that have moved into the Boise area and Idaho in general. And, you know, a lot of California bureaucrats moved along with them and took jobs. And that's where you get Idaho turning into California. You know, Oregon, same thing happened to Oregon. You know, it used to be a sleepy little place, and with not that many laws, you could walk around with guns. Now, if your lights are too bright, they give you a ticket. They've got a code officer walking around the neighborhood, and if you have your lights are too bright or your grass is too long, you know, and that's what happens, you know, when you export these Californians and people from Seattle and stuff to all these different states. Mike, I'll tell you something. About a year and a half ago, I got my first speeding ticket in 10 years. I'm in West Virginia, and I was going 42 and a 25.
Okay.
The ticket came to me, and it was $130. But the officer told me before he left that you can go to the municipal court and you can negotiate with them, and they'll drop it down to like a fix-it ticket, you know. And I did, and I went in there, and I paid $80 for a ticket that I was going 42 in a 25, and they put it as a fix-it ticket, and it didn't go on my, for points from my insurance. You could never do that in California or New York or any of those places.
Got to let you go, Steve. We got to take a break for station identification. More phone calls after these few words.
What would you say if I told you we have a new tool that will increase production and lower maintenance costs for your meat processing company? And it would pay for itself in just 6 weeks.
When pigs fly!
The new EaseOff Model EZ4 replaces old spring-style carcass droppers and is faster, safer, and more reliable. The EaseOff lowers or lifts 1,000 pounds to or from your rail automatically using our remote control.
Sounds expensive. Can I afford it?
Can you afford not to try the EaseOff? It installs fast with just 3 bolts in place of your current dropper. The effortless operation will reduce fatigue and injuries, speed up your line, eliminate downtime, and increase profit.
How can I order my EaseOff?
Go to easeoff.com, EAZEOFF.com, and hurry because we are offering $200 off on the new EZ4 for a limited time. Easeoff.com. We make pigs fly. Cows too. EaseOff LLC, Summersville, Missouri, 417-932-6419.
You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network because you can handle the truth.
What really happened with your host, Mike Rivero. You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, where you'll find out what the Fukushima's going on.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. Hour number 2. The phone lines are open, 800-313-9443. Excuse me, 800-313-9443. We're going to go back to the phones to Mark in North Carolina. Mark, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Doing fine.
And I'm thinking about this right now. I see that things are starting to calm down as far as, there aren't as many, nearly as many deaths and even cases as they had us scared into believing. But what I think is going to happen now, and I'm already seeing signs of it, they're going to credit themselves, these dirtbags there in Washington, D.C. and places like that for recommending actually enforcing social distancing, and say, well, that's what really brought the count down. Right? We got to make it clear to them we don't believe them. We don't really know. We really didn't believe them from the get-go. They're nothing but a bunch of liars, and they want control. And I want to point out also, I'm not sure if I did this last week, but you notice, like with Fucci, whatever his name, Fauci. This is a guy who's got all kinds of connections to Gates Foundation, the Clinton Foundation, and all this other stuff. There's no question in my mind that he's a eugenist. All right. Now you look at Fauci. Okay. He's 79 years old, but yet I got to give him credit. You just look at, he's in pretty good shape. It seems like he's an ugly little dirtbag, but but he's still, he looks like a rat, but he still looks like he's pretty healthy. Now I will bet you dollars to donuts that Fauci, like by the way, Bill Gates and the rest of these clowns, does not eat the slop that he recommends other people to eat. The GMO garbage. I don't hear him saying anything to anybody about the importance of keeping up your immune system, of just getting some sun, let alone eating, getting the vitamins you need, what like Dr. Shiva recommends, the vitamins, and of course eating the kind of foods you should be eating. It's non-GMO, preferably organic, green leafy vegetables, wild-caught fish, grass-fed meat, plenty of nuts and seeds, especially pumpkin seeds, very high in things like zinc. And he doesn't recommend anything like that. Now, again, all he wants to do is push this to the point that they finally can put a vaccine in us, all right? And of course, Gates drools over that, all right? Even though he himself, I'll bet you, doesn't take the vaccine. And he certainly, I don't know if Gates has kids or not, but if he does, I'll bet you his kids ain't taking it, all right? These people do not eat that same crap that they try to push on us. I was taught, by the way, I was shopping today in a place where I get quite a bit of my organic foods and stuff like that, and also dried foods. A lot of it is real good. Doesn't use like dried meats that doesn't have nitrites or nitrates in it, and it's grass fed and all. And I get a lot of good, pumpkin seeds and things like that. And I was talking to a guy. He actually came up to me. He said, "Hey, I want to talk to you." So. Well, what's up? I see you got InfoWars in your car there, which I do. I got it on both my bumpers, even though I'm getting more and more disgusted with Alex Jones lately with the Chicom. Not the Chinese, Alex. Right here in this country, that's the problem. But anyway, and we were talking. It turns out he's a doctor. Okay, I'm not going to, I'm not going to lead people on. He's actually a holistic doctor. He's one of those acupuncturists. But he still knows plenty about the human body. Matter of fact, I trust holistic doctors more than I trust MDs because they understand the human body, they understand nutrition. And he told me he doesn't even believe there's a virus. He told me how they probably are doing it, what they're coming up with. And I said, you know what? I agree with you on most things, but I think there probably is some kind of a virus. I mean, he said, no, he doesn't really think so. He says, this is just what the New World Order wants to do. They want to push this on us because they want to take away our freedoms in the first place. And of course, I agree with that. I think they not only want to take our freedoms away, I think when you look at the worst people are these technocrats, Mike. They're worse than the banksters. The banksters are greedy, okay? They basically want to make money. And they want to control us too, to a degree. But they really want to make that money. But the technocrats, a lot of these are very sick, crazed people. If you remember Rainbow Six,
yes,
prime example of what they want to do. And it's basically first enslave the human race and then eventually put the kind of biological weapon in there to just wipe us out. And they think they can turn themselves into robots. And some of them think they can go into outer space and just say the heck with us. And like I said, turn themselves into robots and let robots rule us. Okay? These movies that show this stuff, not all BS, Mike. They really believe this. And a lot of these Hollywood producers go for that too. Like Will Smith movie, I forgot what it was called, where everybody turns into a zombie except him and a couple other people and his dog, This is what they want. They want us, they basically want us dead. That's what they want. They want to end the human race as we know it. And we've got to start understanding their philosophy, and we've got to start doing something about it. If I was Donald Trump, now I don't trust Trump, of course, but I don't think he's connected. I just don't think he really understands these people. I don't think he's smart enough to really understand who and what they are. If I was Trump, I would have these people rounded up, including Fauci, including Gates, and they would be taken to Gitmo and waterboarded and do whatever else till we find out exactly what they're up to, what other kind of biological weapons they may have, and whatever other plans they have for the people of not only of this country but the people of the world. These are extremely dangerous people, and you need it. You need a president. You need leadership in this country that's going to understand it and do something about it. Because there's not that many of them. There's only a few. I would say, I was talking to this guy too. We were talking together. I said there might be 1,000. I don't even know there's 1,000 of them. They're all over the world. I think they're probably concentrated in the United States, Great Britain, and probably Israel, maybe a few in China, right? But they're very, very dangerous, Mike. And
Yes.
we've got to get to the bottom of it. I'm afraid they really may get their wish one of these days and end mankind as we know it. Okay. I don't know what you think, but I'll take that off here. Okay. Anyway,
All right, well,
hope everything's good, and take it easy.
All right. Thanks an awful lot for the phone call. I don't think anybody wants to end mankind, but if you go back to the Georgia Guidestones, they definitely want to thin out the herd. And of course, anybody arrogant enough to say, I get to decide who lives and who dies is somebody we should be very, very worried about. Okay, let's switch over to Bruce in Illinois. Hello, Bruce. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. Two things. I'll make it quick. I was wondering if you heard anything about the paperwork delivered to the Daily Mail about
Yes.
the Chinese basically admitting to this stuff or admitting to something.
Well, they admitted that they were harvesting coronavirus from bats from this cave, and even more alarming, apparently they got a grant from the United States to do it.
Very interesting.
Yes.
How about Japan? I heard they were something about they were going to pull everything, all production out of China. They're so upset about this whole thing. Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah, they've set aside something over like $1 billion yen to facilitate the moving of manufacturing from China back to mainland Japan, back to the Japanese
Sounds like
islands.
a real
rather.
good idea to me.
Sounds. We
Real
should be
good
doing
idea.
the same thing. We should be doing
I
the
agree
same
with you
thing.
100%.
Yep.
I agree. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to switch over to Dustin in New Jersey. Hello, Dustin. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
What a coincidence. We'll pull it out of China and bring it back to Japan, but you know what? It's still not coming back to the West. So what's the difference? See that, Mike? There's a lot of propaganda. Daily Mail is getting a lot of propaganda. Do you notice how much China hate? And this is like Russia hate on steroids now. You see that, right? Like it's just about all China. China is responsible for the virus, don't you know? Like China is this, China that, and they stole our jobs. And this is all propaganda, people. Like don't, you know, Mike? It's like amazing how people can't see this. You know, I look at it, I'm like, bats are from China. The wet, what do they call it? Wet markets and this or that.
Yeah, the wet markets.
Yeah, it's like, don't you find that a coincidence? At this point in time, you know, it's like it's bizarre. You know, like
Well, I think left to themselves. I think left to themselves, most people would be so concerned about the coronavirus, they would forget that we're supposed to be hating the Russians and the Chinese. So the war hawks are out there trying to remember, you hate the Chinese. Remember, you hate the Russians. You know, now go back to worrying about the coronavirus.
To the last caller, who lied to you about Iraq and Assad gassing his own people? I'm just curious what he thinks. You know, Mike, like who lied to you? Remember, Mike, I voted for Trump. I said this before. I don't want to ramble on. I'm a registered Democrat in New Jersey because, you know, that's all I got in New Jersey is either that or voting for a registered Republican, at least from what I know. But like, what else is going on here? I mean, it's like, come on, you're gonna blame the Russians or the Chinese? Why don't you blame your own government? How come Sweden? I want to call Mike Sebastian's from Sweden. I want him to call in and people from the UK because things ain't going well in the UK and Sweden. Whose fault is that? Is that the Chinese and the Russians? No, your own governments. You know, I mean, Mike, how much money did we spend on the Iraq War, Libya,
Trillions.
Ukraine? How much did Trump give to the White House? 5 million times 2. That's $10 million, right?
Yes.
With Mike Pence, Mike Pompeo. So I'm sorry, but what Trump says, what Mike Pompeo says, what Boris Johnson says is irrelevant. You know, irrelevant. You know, like where is and Mike, I want to repeat this, okay? How many people, like, if this virus is real or not, I don't know. I think it's real. I mean, I see a lot of ambulance driving around more than usual, a lot more. I got an ambulance service down the street, but come on, people, like who? Why would they all make this up? The world, Russia, Iran, if it was not a real event. You know, like who's benefiting? Like, does Putin benefit from this? What, in cracking down on who? You know, and spending money on who? And how about Iran, Mike? Like, do you think they have the money? I mean, Trump called himself a Christian. Was it Saturday? He said he's a Christian. Would a Christian put sanctions on a country that's suffering?
No.
I'm a Catholic. I wouldn't, Mike. You know, so there's a lot more going on. There's a lot of politics, geopolitics. And isn't Mike Pompeo and Mike Pence like evangelicals? Aren't they
I believe so.
supposedly religious? Are
I
they
believe so.
religious?
Well, they all claim to be religious, but you know,
Yeah,
it's
I
one
mean-
thing to say I'm religious, and it's another whether or not you're really acting along the tenets of the faith.
But we're all human beings. We might not agree with what we believe in, but we're all on this planet. So, I mean, I'm not going to go all religious on you, you know. But, like, hey, Mike, did you see the pastor? Like, you see a couple of the pastors in Florida or Louisiana, they died, right?
Yes.
But did you see the one that had, like, he had a picture of Trump he was touching to cure? You know, Mike, it reminds me of that movie Jesus Camp where they're praising the Bush, remember? Touching Bush, a picture of Bush, like a cardboard cutout. I mean, it's bizarre. It's bizarre how just people would just worship an individual, either Trump, Bush, Clinton, Obama, that they're just human beings, folks. I mean, they don't really and all the people that are around them, all the people they put in are just human beings. They're not like deities. They're not like Moses off the mountain. I mean, and
Well,
Mike,
even
I'm
Moses
a
was a
Catholic.
human being.
Exactly, but Mike, I'm a Catholic. I went to, I went to Catholic school, and I don't want to go through the whole spiel, but I mean, I wouldn't do all this crap these people do, like just to proclaim how godly, because we're godly. We live in the United States of America. We're godly, right? Like everybody else, the Chinese and the Russians are evil. Even though the Russians brought us help, how many people said that? Very few, right? They're just garbage. Putin's evil, right? Assad gasses on people. Didn't Trump call him like a barbarian or a butcher, right? Like,
Yes.
I mean, it's just, if you look, I want people to just think past Trump being a Democrat or Republican. What's going on here? Like, who's the barbarian? Like, you got this virus going on that could be real or fake. I don't know, but Mike, when you go to, like I said this before, when you go to the store, I mean, you're not going to walk around in Walmart for an hour. You're going to get what you got to get, and you got to get out. So you don't know what's going on here. But I mean, there's a lot of people using this for political gain around the world, including Boris Johnson and this or that. But I don't know, Mike. What's your take on Mike? Did you watch the Duran? You go on the YouTube, look up the Duran. They had a whole thing on Sweden. I mean, Sweden is in trouble. They had a thing on Norway and stuff, but Sweden is in pretty bad shape in terms of being the herd immunity thing. And I'm just curious. I want other listeners to call in. I want people. James from Tokyo. I keep calling in. Like I want to know what they're feeling, what they're seeing, because isn't that part of what's going on? Like what you see. What's going on with your eyes, like not what the politicians are hearing, not even what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, but I want to know what you're seeing in the store, if when you go out, your wife or other people calling in, because I don't think this is a hoax, like not even, I mean, 9/11 wasn't a hoax. It was a real event, but it might have not been what they told you, but how do you know this is not a hoax? It's actually a real event, but what they're telling you is not the exact.
Yeah, everybody's exploiting this crisis for their own political gain. And that's why you have so many conflicting stories, because there's so many conflicting agendas.
And before I get off the phone, somebody called in that was on, they said I take checks from who? They said I took payoffs, basically. From who?
I don't recall that.
Yeah, they said I took a payoff or a check, and I have to say, the only payoff I took was from a 12-pack of Friskies because my cans were dented in the box. I mean, come on, man. Like, Mike, how long have I been calling in? I think I was calling in after John from Barbados, but I talked, we talked a lot with John Barbados.
Yes.
He was our friend. And like, there's somebody to tell me I take payoffs or kickbacks. I don't believe in 5G or all that. Yeah, I don't believe in the 5G crap. But to say I take payoffs is bunk. Like, what am I calling it from Langley on a payphone?
I get accused of that all the time. I get accused I'm in the pay of big oil. I'm in the pay of this. The checks haven't arrived. They got to be lost in the post office someplace. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good night. And I hope you and Claire stay safe. And Mike, I said it before, you and your listeners be street smart, because, Mike, I went to Walmart and they're giving out free mask at Walmart. Mask when you walk in, and there was people, mostly men, still taking the mask off and throwing them on the ground in Walmart. They just don't, they're selfish, Mike. They don't care if it's real or not real, but they just don't care about their fellow human beings.
Well,
Mike, have a good.
Those masks are not very comfortable. Okay, we got to take another break for a commercial. We've got callers waiting on the line, and we'll be right back.
How healthy are your arteries. Deteriorating circulation has a number of early warning signs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, fingers and or toes often go cold. Arms and or legs often go to sleep. Sharp diagonal crease in the earlobe. Short walks cause cramping or pains in legs. Memory is not as good as it used to be. Ankles swell late in the day. Chest pain after physical exercise or emotional stress. If you experience even one of these symptoms, your circulatory system is crying out for attention. Extendivite is a natural solution to help improve your overall health. Extendivite is not your average heart tonic. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or find us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now, but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge 20, 30, 40, 50, if possible, 100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
When all this twisted steel was swept away, did these remaining holes reveal what's really happened? What really
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show here. We're going to go back to the phones to Gaither in Oklahoma. Welcome to the show, Gaither. What's on your mind?
Hey, Mike, I just called to tell you people, see, a lot of those hospitals they're setting up and everybody's running around, oh, it's empty, it's empty. And you guys got to think, like you just said, they use this stuff for a lot more agendas. Imagine all these people's dope are getting cut off. All this from China and Mexico. You get a lot of junkies in these cities, and they're going to come unglued here just shortly. A lot of people don't realize this. There's a lot more people that do illegal drugs than you could imagine, and they're going to have a place. They keep saying, "Well, this is for non-corona cases," and everybody's going, "Well, why would you bring a ship there for non-corona?" Well, guess what? There's going to be a lot of people needing attention here shortly, because evidently, from what I understand, there's only like a 22-day supply in the United States. Keep ahead of all the, explicit use. So we're running out of time. I mean, not we're running out of time, but we're going to start seeing a flashback from this problem, don't you think?
Yeah, it's an aspect I don't think anybody had really looked at until now. I mean, I don't know how much the COVID-19 has shut down the drug trade. or if it's been shut down at all. But if it has been, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of people going into withdrawal. And in the case of certain drugs, that could lead to violence, particularly, the meth is produced domestically, but like the heroin and the cocaine, if that supply runs
The
out, there's
fentanyl,
going to be a lot of very unhappy people.
Well, the big thing is the fentanyl and the opiates coming from China, and a lot of people don't realize they're not just shutting all these these ships down. There's a lot of counterfeit money and stuff comes in on those ships. Not only does our vacuums and our stuff, but there's all kinds of stuff mixed in with it. And the only way you can control it and shut the money off is to shut it all off. And I know everybody, we're all on freaking out, but this is the only way you can clean this mess up. Is you got to cut off everything. There's no other way because it'll leak. They're like a leaky pot. They'll leak over here. They'll leak over here. He's doing the only thing. The world is doing the only thing it can for a real reset is to shut it off and let the rats have to crawl out of the hole, and then we all grab them. Like the prisons. You're going, oh, they're letting all these prisoners loose. Well, I have a buddy that's in the Department of Justice, and he's saying they're making room for pedophiles. They're redoing the prison. They're going to have a whole wings for just pedophiles. And these Catholic priests better wake up because guess what? They're going to have a whole wing just for you. So, like I said, there's a lot of amazing things going, people. Please just try to be patient. But no, I'm not saying drop your guard, but just chill. Man, I know it's crazy, but this is the only way we can fix this. All right, Mike, that's all I got to say, but I appreciate your show. And y'all, man, please look at more than one aspect. Don't get tunnel vision. Look at the whole forest, okay? Thank you, Mike. Bye.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We're going to switch over to Ray in Indiana. Welcome, Ray. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Mike. I want to call last week about the updating the prediction to 60,000. And I was on hold there when Dustin came back up. And they're now doing wide-scale antibody tests in California. And when that's done, they're going to drop that even more. So I'll put this bet out to Dustin that by May 1st, that's going to drop below 50,000. So and so we'll know here in a week or two. Like I said, those antibody tests in California are going to do it. But the other reason I called was Friday. You were talking about whether or not this $1,200 check is going to be on your tax. It doesn't matter what they say now. We won't know until January. They don't finalize any of that IRS stuff till January. So even if they say it's not part of your taxes now, that could all change by January. So it's going to go back and forth between now and January. So anyway, I would like to put that open bet out to Dustin that that prediction is going to drop below 50,000 before May 1st. And thanks again for all the free podcasts. I've been a podcast listener for years. I've sent you a little bit of money. I'm part of the working poor. I'm just barely scraping by, but I have sent a little money over the years. But I will thank you again in person. Your podcast have made me an informed voter, and I do appreciate it.
Well, thank you very
Have a
much.
great day.
I appreciate your support, and I appreciate the phone call. So thank you very much here. All right, we're coming up here on another break. Apparently, Jack Phillips, the baker who was sued for refusing to make a cake for a same-sex wedding, is back in court again, this time for turning down a request for a gender transition cake. Why don't you just find a baker? And I would assume there are some bakers who are gays and transitioning. Just take your business to them. All right, we got to take a break for commercials. Back with more phone calls after these few words.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. This product is superb. I have been taking it for about a year now, and I can feel my cardiovascular system run like a Swiss watch. I definitely recommend this product for anyone that has high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and heart palpitations, A+. It's potent, but it works. I have been waking up for the past 3 years with numb hands, and a week into using Extendivite, my numb hands seem to have cleared up. My circulation was off, and now it's back on track. So I'm happy. I feel so energized, and I have my husband on it now. My mother-in-law has cholesterol problems, so I bought her a bottle as well. Thank you so much. Love the product. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Well, they're stealing down on Wall Street and in Washington, too. You know, it makes me wonder, what's a guy on Main Street to do? I've always tried to be an honest, upstanding kind of guy. But I must admit lately, I thought about giving something else a try. Oh, I want to be a pirate. I want to sail the 7 seas, yeah, I want to be a pirate. I want to do just what
And aloha, America. Welcome back to the show. And before we go back to the phones here, quick peek at the mailbox here. Got an email from California. People fleeing from California are not bringing their agendas with them. I'm here, and my friend just moved to Caldwell, Idaho. I think these guys just call in to put the blame on people. I think the governors of these states become bought off to start these increased laws and rules. Entirely possible. Let's go back to the phones to Dirk in Las Vegas. Aloha, Dirk. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind? Dirk, are you there? Okay, looks like we've lost Dirk, so let's switch over. Let's switch over to Mark in Florida. Hello, Mark. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm here, Mike. Thanks for letting me in. I just wanted to reference that the rulers over the past 4,000 years, Nimrod was a madman. The emperors of Rome were madmen. The French Revolution, a gang of madmen. In the United States, we have a tradition of depriving people of their life, liberty, and property and happiness, secretly in courts, like with the IRS. And but the United States does it behind closed doors, so it's not so ugly and bloody as the days of old. But if people, look at it, it's It's Babylonian Justinian Bolshevism, and it's just Bolshevism behind closed doors and not as bloody. But like they take the cake maker you just spoke of. Now they want to transgender people to turn this cake maker into their slave by order of the state. That's Bolshevism. When the state becomes the master and the people become the slave, it's Bolshevism. And people got to look up Bolshevism and not let it happen here. And a couple callers ago, he mentioned be calm, be friendly with your neighbors, be cautious. But if you can share. But like I say, be cautious, because if it gets really bad, people go mad. Hungry people will go mad. But this is Bolshevism. It's the government, state instituted. The state is master. You are the slave. We will force you to take shots. That's Bolshevism. And people got to research it, share it with their family and friends, and not let it happen here.
Well, what I can't understand is why they even bother. I mean, this guy was already known to have strong religious beliefs. And, I grew up in a world where all businesses reserved the right to refuse service to anybody. And that was considered one of the rights of being a business owner, is you could say, I don't want to do business with you, please, kindly leave. And I'm going to, at the risk of stereotyping, I'm going to assume that there are some gays and transgenders who are very excellent bakers. Why don't you just take your business to them instead of trying to make a big stink about this one guy? And all you're going to do is build resentment and hostility. You're not going to win any people over with this heavy-handed attitude.
Well, I would blame it on the attorney that's representing the people that want to buy the cake. Attorneys can't make a living without chaos. Therefore, they create chaos. And they'll create chaos if it's bloody and deathly. You got governors with this virus telling people they can't travel to their second home in Michigan. $1,000 fines in New York. This is Bolshevism and it's madness. And the same governors that won't let you travel are the same kind of governors that want to sue you for not baking a cake. Be a good slave, shut your mouth and be a good slave, or we'll beat you to death. We'll kick your butt and take your stuff. It's Babylonian, is Bolshevism. Thank you, Mike.
All right, thanks an awful lot. And we're going to take another phone call. This from Harry in Southeast Indiana. Aloha, Harry. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Howdy, Mike. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, what's on your mind?
Well, this sounded good. I thought I'd throw it out there. Hey, I wanted to touch base with you on that baking soda you said had a bad taste on Friday.
Yes.
You want to use a fresh box. After it sits in your refrigerator for a week, it absorbs odors. And then when you go to add it to your drink, then you're tasting the odors that it absorbed all week long. So you want to use a fresh box, keep it wrapped up in plastic, and that way it doesn't get contaminated with the odors. And then I wanted to jump over to, there was an underground tunnel going from the Trade Center to Building 7.
Yes.
And it's my understanding that raw fuel dumped down the elevator shaft down into the basement and filled that tunnel full. And that's what actually brought Building 7 down. But, I don't know. That's just what they're saying. And then I wanted to go into some of that COVID virus has like a 32% death rate. I think that's the SARS virus. And there's actually 3 strains running around the United States now. And I'm sorry.
5. There are 5 strains.
Yeah. Well, when you go back to the polio, there was 2 strains. One would just give you a little mild infection, and then the other one would paralyze you for life. And I think that's where we're at with the coronavirus as well. Some of them will kill you, some of them won't. And then I wanted to go to, the initial reports, out of China with all the other reports. It was 70% the coronavirus are similar to the coronavirus, and 35% was similar to another virus. And, that wouldn't happen naturally, so it was created with like CRISPR technology or some gain of function experiment that they were doing, not actually coming out of nature. And the U.S. has like 28 labs that experiments in these viruses. And at least 2 times, somebody from China was arrested for taking biomaterial out of these labs. One was at the border and one was at an airport. And then China is really good with this CRISPR technology. They've done 2 babies so far that were successful. Hard to say how many more they tried that didn't come out.
Well, the doctors who did that have been sent to prison.
Oh yeah, most certainly. The fact of the matter is they actually did it, and they're that good. And then I want to go back to the baking soda thing for a minute. I've got thyroid disease.
Before we do that, it's too early to say if the CRISPR babies were a success because they're still newborn, and we don't know what problems are going to show up as they age and hit puberty.
No, well, that's for a fact.
Remember Dolly the sheep, the first cloned mammal, and it was a big success. We've cloned the sheep. Very sickly, all kinds of problems, and died very young.
Yeah, there was something about the edges of their DNA wasn't quite formed or something, wasn't it?
Could have been the telomeres. I'm not sure.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, I've got thyroid disease, kidney disease, COPD, cancer, and a whole host of other things. And by taking an alkaline diet, a little bit of baking soda, that's what's keeping me alive.
Well,
So I'm living proof that it works.
I'm glad that's working for you. Well, the benefits of an alkaline diet are well known and well documented. And like I said, back when I was dealing with gout, I used to drink a lot of essential water, which is high pH. I seem to have outgrown that phase, but Claire still tries to alkalize our diet as much as possible.
Absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you taking my call and let me run down through my list of talking points that I had.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the phone call. Now. Same to you, and we're going to switch over to Peter in Los Angeles. Hello, Peter. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Yeah, hi, Mike. The most interesting thing that I saw in the news was that Daily Mail article about how the United States government was subsidizing the Wuhan clinic, $3.7 million a year. That's what they admit to, anyways. They won't say exactly what that entailed. We know that they exchanged samples with people. I think Duke University and Fort Detrick and places like that, another place in Canada, Israel too. But whether or not this was accidental or not, somebody dropped a test tube, somebody didn't wash their shoes or something. We've got this worldwide pandemic, and it's cost scores of trillions of dollars. And I watched something last night, since I'm doing nothing but watching TV now. It was a PBS thing called The American Experience, and the title of this one was Command and Control. And it was documenting an event that took place in September of 1980 at a Titan II missile base right outside of Little Rock, between Little Rock and Hot Springs, Arkansas, where, and literally, this is what happened, Mike. A mechanic doing routine maintenance dropped a socket wrench. He was up near the warhead, near the top, dropped the socket wrench. It went down and punctured the side of this 9 megaton carrying Titan II missile. And they were deathly close to wiping out Hot Springs and Little Rock and everything in between for dropping a wrench. And I thought about that and what we're doing now. Somebody dropped a test tube. That why in the world are we playing with stuff like this? Why are these industries allowed to exist when we know the governments are run by megalomaniac, absolutely sociopaths, really? But yet billions of dollars have been spent since the end of World War II on bioweapons. You ran the articles that there was a bioweapon. We used bioweapons against China and Korea in the Korean War, and the anthrax stuff. We've done nuclear tests, marching troops through nuclear right after a blast, right through ground zero.
Yes.
The Tuskegee experiments were injecting them with syphilis for 40 years. All this, myriad of really ghoulish and willful uses of this horrible technology, and yet we still go on producing it, allowing somebody to have something in a test tube that they could drop and wipe us all out, or a nuclear technology that where the profit motive, as you said, was so high with the Fukushima reactors that they couldn't put the goddamn emergency generator on the side of a hill, save a couple of bucks. Pacific Ocean gone. We cannot allow this technology, I'm firmly convinced, be it bio, be it nuclear, chemical, in the hands of these murderous bastards that run seemingly all the governments, but certainly ours too. And,
well, it's the fact that they are sociopathic megalomaniacs where they feel perfectly comfortable doing this. We were talking the other day about the Biological Weapons Convention, which is a treaty everybody has signed saying we're not going to do this, but there's absolutely no verification written into it. In fact, verification has been blocked repeatedly by the U.S. government. So it's like everybody pays lip service to the fact that we're not going to be playing with this technology anymore, and yet nobody can double check whether anybody is doing it or not. Now, I know they closed down Fort Detrick, so they say, but there are dozens of other laboratories run by the U.S. government in other countries to have deniability if something goes wrong.
And that timing is pretty suspicious about Fort Detrick, frankly.
Yes.
But not only are the government themselves and our elected officials megalomaniac sociopaths, but they're bought and paid for by guys like Bill Gates and George Soros and Adelson, who wouldn't shut down his casino in Macau because of the for the coronavirus. He went right on, keeping that open. These guys own the megalomaniacs. The guys that own them are megalomaniacs. I mean, it's really, and why do we have this technology and wielded by a government owned by a guy like Bill Gates, who's espoused the philosophy of I want 500 million people in the world.
Yes. And I'm going to use vaccines to do it.
Yeah, and everybody's pretty hip to what really is behind most of these vaccines. But it's that's the one thing that I want to say, and how simple it is for Little Rock to almost disappear, or or a pandemic worldwide, and or the Pacific Ocean dying. It's just beyond me why we allow this to happen, and why we allow this power to be wielded by these insane people. And by the way, Mike, I can't see any other way out of getting out of this economically unless we pick a war. And I'm thinking Iran.
Yes.
Just big enough to, mobilize a lot of people, but not big enough for them to really, attack the United States and like China or Russia could. But that's the kind of thing that these guys are thinking about right now with all this technology. So,
oh yeah, every time they get the economy this messed up, they get into a war to distract from it. Crash of 1907, World War I, crash of 1929, World War II, crash of 2008. And look at how many countries the United States has already gone into. And they're still drooling over Iran, Russia, and China.
Yep. And by the way, we know the one result of this is going to be we're going to lose just about everything we have. All our
Yeah.
401ks, our pensions, but our property, values. But you know what? The bankers are going to make out like bandits and are making out.
They are, yeah, they already are. I mean, all this coronavirus relief, the vast majority of the money is going to big business.
BlackRock, the Federal Reserve, you know who they are.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my 2 cents, Mike. Thanks for entertaining me. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the phone call. We got to take another break for commercials. We have another caller waiting on the line, and we will be right back.
Did you know that you can be tracked and traced when you're online? With identity theft and cybercrimes on the rise, your passwords, your identity, and even your physical location can be revealed to complete strangers. Would you like to surf the internet anonymously and not have to worry about these threats? Well, now you can by visiting patriotinternet.com. For about $2 per month, patriotinternet.com will conceal your IP address and your physical location, allowing you to browse the web, send emails, and instant message anonymously. patriotinternet.com will bypass filters, block sites, and keyword blocking. You can also bypass logging by your router and your ISP. With patriotinternet.com, there is no software to install and uses 128-bit encryption for your protection. When using wireless hotspots, patriotinternet.com shields your information from identity thieves and is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux. Protect your identity and your freedom with anonymous internet access from patriotinternet.com. Visit patriotinternet.com today.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendivite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendivite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Talk Right, the conservative app offered by TalkStream Live that caters exclusively to the conservative talk radio community. Here you'll see only talk shows and podcasts from the conservative right, all the big broadcast names and online digital shows in one place. Talk Right makes it easy to find all your favorite conservative talkers with all the upscale features you come to expect from TalkStream Live. Keep up with the fast-paced political world. Download Talk Right today from Google Play or the App Store.
The Republic Broadcasting Network late night premiere show of Redfield Hardcore is hosted by activists that want to hear from you, the listeners, so that you can get involved in the activism. Please call in at 800-313-9443 at 10 p.m. to enter the discussion. To book yourself as a guest, call our studio at 202-657-5715 or contact RBN staff. Remember, keep it real and take the red pill.
What this country is coming to, I sure would like to know. If they don't do something by and by, the rich will live and the poor will die. Doggone, the panic is on. Can't get no work, can't draw no pay. Unemployment getting worse.
And aloha, America. Welcome back to our show. Last segment of the program today. I'm going to try and get all these calls in before the end of the program, starting with Douglas in Tennessee. Hello, Douglas. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hi, Mike. I just had a comment about I think it was the Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Yes.
Hear a lot of reports that the government or some entity injected these people with syphilis. For it's my understanding, they did not. They just didn't treat them. They told them they were treating them for bad blood, which was understood to mean syphilis. And then they didn't treat them. They just studied them. But I don't think they injected them or exposed them or transmitted syphilis to these men. They acquired it.
Yeah, but they allowed these men to continue being sick even after a cure for syphilis was found. And that's really
absolutely that's terrible, but that's even worse if they gave them syphilis, and they didn't, from what I understand. They did, definitely. It's a terrible thing that they did,
yes.
But it's not quite fair or accurate to say that they gave them syphilis. I don't think they did. While we're on the topic of things, I've heard in the past, not recently, that a couple people have said that the Nazis, specifically Goebbels, propagated the big lie and how important the big lie was to their program, which is false also. He attributed other people as using the big lie, and it's really not the people that we think it is. It wasn't Jewish people he was talking about. He was talking about the English people, from my understanding. He said that they propagate the big lie, and that however silly it is, they just keep it up. But it was the British, the English people that he was talking about. That's all I had. I know you got another caller, so I'll let you go. Thank you.
All right. Thanks an awful lot. We're going to get a quick update from Steve Elkins. Hello, Steve. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Well, I told you about Osceola County having that executive order about the mask. Everybody going out in public must wear a mask. Wife just came home, and I guess they did some polling, and talk radio got on top of it and asked the people, what do you thought? Is this necessary? Is it an overreach? And evidently, it has now been rescinded. They will just do education. They will not hand out warnings. They will not hand out fines, and nobody will be jailed. So I just want to give that update.
Well, that's good news, I think. A blow for liberty, as they were. All right. Thanks an awful lot, Steve. We're going to try and fit in this last call. Stephen in Michigan. Aloha, Stephen. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hello. First-time caller from Michigan. And I wanted to talk about Dr. Butar from North Carolina. He's got a website called advancedmedicine.com. And he has a lot of documentation and all the background information you want to read about Fauci and where this COVID virus was born, which was at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, which is where a lot of the research took place, and Fauci helped weaponize it back in 2015 against the advice of his colleagues. I've also...
Stephen, I got to let you go. Stephen, I'm sorry. I got to let you go. It's the end of the program here. Please stay tuned for John Stedmiller. I'm sure he's got lots of interesting things to share with you. Please spread the word of RBN. Please spread the word of whatreallyhappened.com. Call your local talk radio station and ask them to carry the Republic Broadcasting programming stream. Please donate. We need your help to stay on the air. We'll be back tomorrow. Aloha, America.